Hey, welcome back, Founding Champions. That last video I made, the audio was just too bad. So we are going to do a redo, because I know I couldn't even on a playback watch it myself. I was like, can't do it. So we're going to go ahead and do a little redo, and it's been a minute. It's just, it's been like 5-6 days, so I got my whole setup all ready to go. Now, finally. So, let's see. Where does we start? Where did we start? We started, where she is. There she is. Bloodseeker Sanguinarch. We already did her. We're going to go start off with the Cursed Clave Acolyte. This is a guy that can potentially do 7 damage. Damage to your opponent increases by 1 for each highlighted spell. I don't think he's going to see that much play. He's very, 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 flavorful. And look at that shield. That's so cool. I love the art on this guy. It's basically a cursed human. That's basically who this guy is inside their little acolyte. And but on competitiveness, this is not very competitive in my opinion. It's not going to see much competitive play. Next up, a Cursed White Knight. You can now have 4 White Knights in the same deck. Isn't that cool? 2 of these and 2 of the other White Knights. So you can have yourself a little SJW White Knight deck, right? So, let's see. Neferata still won't, still keeping him in the friend zone. Anyways, play Risen, ability, any unit, damage. Which I do like the unit damage part. So, if they don't change stacking, it's going to be pretty much a turbo rotation card, just like the other White Knight, potentially. Heroic attack, if this champion controls a unit, gain 1 health. I don't like the fact that you have to control a champion to gain that health. It's already not that great of an effect. But I think it would be also too good if you could just straight up gain a health. Because you can have this guy and then the 2 other Morden champions that gain health if you're too low and you just gain too much health. And, it'd be too good, I think. I think they might have realized that and they're like, okay, we need to give some kind of control on it. Let's put a unit in front. So you can't always do it. Next up we have Emerald Life Swarm. Gain health, move units from your discard pile to your hand. Unfortunately, don't we already have a card like in Death that does this, but it puts them on the field or something like that? It's just, this card's not good and it's a rare, but anybody can use it. So, if somewhere down the line, because they can abuse this card easily because any deck can use it. So it's really hard to sort of design and play around. So they make them sort of underpowered, but I don't know why they had to make it a rare, because this is a bulk rare. And I don't think this card's going to be broken. It's just, it takes too long. It's way too long to get this to happen. Sometimes games end before this even gets around. So I really don't like it, and you're not getting huge boost in health, only 2, and then you're getting 2 guys back. And it's move this many units from your discard pile to your hand. It's not up to. So if you don't have those 2 units anymore or whatever, never had them, it's just not gonna happen. You're not gonna get any units. Next up, Haunting Chain Rasport. Like my voice, all raspy a little bit. We do have 2 damage, so that's 5 damage in total. Very average. Stacking Spirit. Damage to your opponent. This unit has support 2, damage on Rend, so it can get that Rend damage. And the Spirits have always been this sort of very long rotation card. A lot of them have stacking now, which is good. I do like that. It's a very big aspect of Spirits, because Spirits are sort of, see, look, these guys are kind of stacked on top of each other, and they're all kind of floating and hovering towards the enemy. So you get that huge amounts of flavor. Yum. And his kidneys taste like fava beans. So, great, outstanding, flavorful card. Competitive, not so much. Maybe once you put them all together, they all start becoming very competitive. But right now, not competitive at all. You're not going to really see this much. Next up, Rune Maw Bearer. It's an ogre on a short fuse, which is something we haven't seen yet. This is very new. It's common. Damage to your opponent, remove a highlighted spell. Though I'd like to put this on the ogre that does 2 damage. So it eventually does kind of 3 damage. Makes it a lot better, but of course if they're not playing spells, this guy's not really doing very much. But it is on a short fuse, which can rotate that ogre champion really quick. I do like the flavor of it. And competitiveness, we'll see. Basically, it will be competitive if The other ogre cards that come out in the set are also okay. But he doesn't necessarily have to be just ogres. It does give a unit option for destruction to destroy spells, and that's something that they didn't have very well. They had a little bit of spell destruction, but this really gives them some really good spell destruction. So that's about it. Next up, we have Winter's Endurance. Spell, gain health, restart this if a highlighted enemy deals damage to you. I don't like this card. This card's terrible because if you're on X, they deal damage to you. So it's just here though, and then it goes back. And it can be any enemy, so wizard, whatever unit, and it will deal damage to you, and this will restart over and over and over again. But if it goes to 4 and restart, that's 8 health. That's really good. Excuse me. Needed some water. Thank you. Next up we have Living Woods, Giran, Realm of Life. You gain 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 health over time, which is I'd say average for a gain health spell, but it's on 4 corners. Again, anybody can use it. It's a common. Not too much to say about that. I do like how it starts off a little higher than putting the 3 at the end, so that's nice. Gaze of Volcatrix. An Axie spell. XX then 4. Damage to your opponent. Rotate the highlighted unit to its final corner. That's pretty good if you are... It's kind of funny. It's like Winter's Endurance, Gaze of Volcatrix. They all seem to be like doing the antithesis of each other. But this card, Gaze of Volcatrix, is pretty good against something that you're trying to just get it to the very end. Say like you're up against the ogre that you discard a card, does 5 damage. This is good against damage reduction cards, though it's a little hard to time because it's on a 3rd corner instead of a 2nd corner. So they've already gotten a lot of use out of their cards. So I'm not too big of a fan of this. Though it's good against stacking by having your opponent's unit exhaust on their turn, so then they can't continue the stack, and that's very good. Razor Shell, Harpoon, Alopex is next up. It's a unit. A Beast Elf, so Lotan's going to get a little bonus off this, and all those elf champions as well. Highlighted units are dormant, damage to your opponent. So, I mean, with Lotan, this is going to do 2 here and then 3, so that's 5 damage. Very, very good for being able to lock down their lane. Or you just put it on whoever and lock down the lane. Or it can supplement inside of because it's a beast and an elf, you can supplement this inside of a Stormcast deck. And get any other random elf or beast its secondary effects from your cards. So this is a very, very good card. It's an uncommon. I feel like it should have been a rare. This would have been easily a $5, $6 rare. Maybe even more because it's that good. But it's an uncommon. So we're looking at like a $2 uncommon upon release. And then it'll sort of be a $1 uncommon about after 3 months or so. So... it is going to be a very good uncommon. I would definitely suggest picking these up and holding on to as many as you can, because it's a very good card. And if there's any sort of legacy or eternal format, this card's definitely going to see some play in that format. It's a very good card, and when it had all these tags on it. I mean, all it's missing is a Stormcast tag, really. It's that good. Next up, we're going to go up to a little spicy one. Spicy. So, Feed the Maw. Don't we have a champion that discards tons of cards? So, the ogres like discarding cards. I don't know if you realize that. And this is an ogre artwork here, which is also the same artwork of the champion that we want to use it with. No, not you. Where is he? Where is he? Who discards cards from their hand and is amazing? When this champion deploys an ogre unit, nope. That's not it. Where is it? Discard 1 card from your hand and deal damage. So you deal 5, discard that spell. That's going to do 7. And then you can also play the champion. I don't think you'll play those 2 cards in the same deck. Oh man, I passed over it, didn't I? You're all probably like, you just passed over it. What are you doing? Oh no. Where is he? Discard 2 cards from your hand. Here he is. So... discard 2 cards from your hand. It'll do the damage. Play that dude, right? The other guy that destroys things or whoever. But when you discard a card from your hand to deal 5 damage, you're also going to be discarding this card here. Feed them all. Discard your hand. Discard a card from your. When this card is discarded, deal 2 damage to your opponent. So you're gonna do 7 damage to them. That's pretty good. You don't have to exactly cast this card. Now you can, and that wizard definitely could do the full 3 damage. So this is a very versatile card in that kind of deck, and that's the only deck it's gonna see play in. It's very, very flavorful. Feed the maw, because this is the maw that you basically feed it with dead or alive beings, and feeding it gives them power. It does damage to the enemy. Next up, we do have, so Feed the Maw is competitive, very competitive, in that deck only. Scrabbling Horror, rend damage to your opponent. Rend damage to your opponent. Think about that, okay? There's this, oh my god, I just made a video about how Morden is about to be a thing, and the card that was revealed was a guy that gains health. Now this is a guy that does rend damage, 5 damage, average amount of damage. Now look, so you have that spell, you place a spell, it does plus 2 damage for all your Morden stuff. Plus 2 damage or gain 2 health, whatever it's trying to buff. So you're going to do, well, if you play them at the same time, you're still just going to do 1 rend. But you can do 3 here, and then you can do 5 here. So that's 9 damage. I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. And it's rend, which is huge for the deck. Morden deck is very, very, very much a thing now. I mean, it's insane. And it's a common. So this card's going to be insane. Every time you play against this and you see this, you're going to be like, oh. You can't stop it. It's rend damage. Okay, so next up, I'm going to stop harping on that card. Very good card. See, I think the last video stopped at Bolt of Tzeentch. So we're going to go ahead and go through these pretty quick. Savage Stickas, XX 2 and 3. You do have to have support 2 underneath them to get the effect, but it will do 5 damage. The effect is support 2. Highlighted champions cannot deploy units, which is the first stacking orc unit that can control the board like that. So the orc sort of control units are coming out in force now. We do have that beast that can do that, and then we do have the other beasts that will dormant things, but they cannot deploy units. I think that's very good. Flavorful, very flavorful, and mildly competitive. We'll see how many of these and if it fits in the deck. And if the stacking rules also, let's see if they go back to original, if they change it permanently. Soul Shield Sequitur, I mean, I like the art. That's one badass woman, check that out. Could be a dude too, who knows. But 3 and 2, it's not doing damage, guys, and it's not doing damage reduction. It's basically the damage your opponent is doing cannot exceed that. But since most things kind of do 3 anyways, this card's terrible. Next. Gorglaive Blood Warrior, XXX and 3. Remove any highlighted units. We do have a champion that does 2 more damage on the 4th corner, so I think it's pretty good. It's not going to be too terribly competitive because it is a 4-corner card. That long fuse card is just not really going to cut it. But remove any highlighted units on 3. That can be pretty insane, especially if the Chaos ever gets any cards that turbo rotates in your units. We can do by 1, but I'm talking about like all the way all at once. Next up is Magebane Hex. It's the Chaos version of Remove a Spell. We've seen a lot of cards like this. I think we can judge this pretty well. It's going to get a little better if people are using a lot more spells. Let's just remove a highlighted spell damage. Next up is Spectral Lure, X1 and 1. Gain health, move up to spirit units from your discard pile to your hand. Up to, which is only 1 anyways. But you gain 2 health, get 2 cards back, so I mean, why in the world would I ever play something like Emerald Life Swarm? I mean, obviously Death would never play it. So Emerald Life Swarm is for obviously not Death decks. But Spectral Lure, I think it's an okay card. I don't think it's going to see too much play. I think it's going to see a little bit of play, especially in the sideboard. And it's very, very, very Lady Olander here, dragging everyone. Like, you're coming with me. We're going to war, guys. That's basically why Nagash hired her, because she's exactly doing this thing, and they can't stop her. So, a very, very flavorful card. And I'm going to go and stop there, and I'll start the second video. I'll make that this afternoon. And I guess I do want to thank you for watching. And I know I had to make a second video, so if you watched the full other video, I'm sorry. that audio was actually that bad. And it was really that bad. And guys, I just hope you have an outstanding rest of your day. And again, thanks for watching.